episode, we are going to be showing you how to both do the garter stitch and casting off so you can complete an item. We've had so many people saying that they're so excited about casting on and they want to know how to knit and they want to keep going. So we're going to put both of those sections in this video. So enjoy.
Welcome back to Mocha Yarns. We'll carry on from our 10 cast on stitches, and in this session we're going to learn how to do garter stitch, which to any knitters who knit is the knit line. Here are our 10 cast on stitches. We have our needles in our left and right hand. You take your right hand needle, you poke it through the first stitch on the needle, on the left hand needle. You wrap the working yarn around the cross, exactly the same as the casting on.
So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty with one little clip there. So to carry on where Janet was just going to show you the garter stitch, so we've got our 10 cast on needle, we have our 10 cast on stitches, and so you have your left hand and your right hand. Left needle, right needle. We're going to put it in just like we're going to cast on. Do the exact same thing. Put the yarn between, and when we usually go and we take that stitch and put it on this needle, this time we're going to take that stitch and take it off. It's as simple as that. Make our X, yarn around, take it off. Make our X, yarn around, and take it off. Make our X, I'm going to go slow here, yarn around, and for casting on, what we did was we took that stitch and put it on the needle like that. But we're not casting on, so we're going to do the garter stitch. We're taking it off. Make our X, yarn together, and take it off. Our X, yarn in between, pull it down, get that stitch, take it off. This is called the garter stitch. You can see it's starting to grow here. So we're going to do another row. Take your wool around and off. Right hand goes under just like casting on. Take the wool around. Take it, but this time we take it off. So we're just going to keep doing this garter stitch. Our 10 stitches. And if you make a mistake, a couple of common mistakes are going under here and taking this one, or going and doing that one, or dropping your stitch right off. Then you go like that and you go, oh no, what do I do? You just go and get it. Put it back where it was and continue. Pull around and take it off. Pull around. Once you get the hang of this, you guys, I saw someone today, she had started with our channel and she was so ready to make a cowl. It was so cute. So I said, the videos will be up very soon. So, so you come to the end of the row, and I always like to check, and when I learn to knit, always check there's still 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stitches on my needle. Good, good, good. So then you're going to turn your needle, take it from the right hand now, put it in your left hand. So the right hand needle's empty right now. And we start with the first one, exact same thing. So you're just going to continue on like this until your knitted piece becomes your desired length. So for this particular project, we're going to be making a headband. So we're just going to keep knitting it until it becomes the length that we want. So just keep going, and that is the garter stitch. It has bumps like this, you can see it. That is the garter stitch.
Welcome back to Mocha Yarns. Now what we've got here is the headband that we were making, all with the garter stitch. Now when you're going to do the headband, if it's a headband you're making, make sure that you try it around your head, and it needs to be about 1/2 inch tighter than you'd want it, because as you can see, yarn stretches. Now it doesn't have to be a headband. If you are using cotton, you could make it bigger and you could put like 30 stitches on and make yourself a dishcloth. You could make yourself a cup holder and make it shorter. There's so many things you can do. If you wanted a bigger headband so it goes over your ears, you just put more stitches on. This is such a basic, easy pattern that can be made into so many things. Once you get the grasp of how to do this, it's like nothing will stop you. You can just use your own imagination. Now the next step, and you're probably all thinking this, how the heck do I get it off the needle? Well, it's actually quite simple. So here we go. Very slowly we'll do it. You insert the needle into the stitch just like you were knitting. Just wind the yarn around, pull it through, just like a knitting stitch. Then you do the next one exactly the same, just like the knitting stitch. Into the stitch, yarn around, pull it through. This is where it differs a little. You take this needle, you take your left hand needle and you put it into the first stitch you knitted and you just pull it over. One stitch cast on. You go to the next one, yarn around, pull it through and pull that stitch over. Now can you see? It's a nice clean edge. Don't do it tight, just do it with a little looseness in it, because you don't want it too tight. Yarn around, pull it round, pull it through, slip the stitch over. Yarn through, pull it round and through, slip the stitch over. So there's your first stitch on the needle. Into the second stitch, turn it around, pull it around, pull it through, and then you take the first stitch and pull it over the second stitch. And so the second stitch becomes a first stitch. So there's the first stitch. We go into the second stitch, yarn around, pull it through, just a knitted stitch, pull it over, and another one. And look, we can see how we're casting off. Simple. It might not seem simple when you first do it, and I shouldn't say simple, but it's actually, if you can knit a stitch, you can cast off.
Exactly.
So you take your yarn, you wrap it round, pull it through, pass the first one over. Put it through, pull it round, pass the first one over.
It's like it does a leapfrog in the
that's a good way to describe it.
The second stitch jumps over that first
The first
one.
stitch jumps over the second
Yes,
stitch.
exactly.
Until you come to the last stitch. So we're down to the last stitch. So what happens here is you've got one stitch on. I always leave enough yarn to sew up. So even if it's a little bit too much yarn, I'd rather have too much than not enough. So you snip the yarn, you've still got that on the needle, and then what I do, and there's many different ways to do this, everybody has their own little way, to me this is the easy way, you just pull the yarn through. You pull it through. I always keep my thumb just on the last little bit there to pull it tight, because I don't want a loop at the end.
Exactly.
And there you go. And then you take your yarn and you can sew it up.
So here's our finished garter stitch headband, and it fits all the way around, and you can see the ridges of the garter stitch there, and it just matches quite lovely. And if you want to add a little bow or something to it, so I'm making my slip stitch like I did before. Got my little tail there. I'm casting on about 6 stitches. This is just going to take a minute. 1. I keep forgetting I have to take my needles out because they're just starting. We've got 3. 4. 5, and once you get comfortable casting on, you can leave your needle in like this. And that comes with practice. 6. So now we're just going to knit a little bit, and we'll just show you something really cute you could add to your hat. So I'm just doing the garter stitch. So I've just cut a small piece of yarn, just going to tie it around like you're tying a belt. Just pull it tight.
And you can wrap the yarn around as many times as you want, once, twice.
That's right, just making your little bow here. And we can do it again in the back or whatever you want. I'm knotting it every time just because I'm anal that way. There, so we've got our little bow. I'm going to put a few knots in the back of the tie because then I can cut it right off.
And we'll just show you a better picture of it once the hands are...
Yes, once my hands are out of the way. Okay. So,
but I think everybody gets the drift of that. You just do a little oblong and you wrap the yarn around.
And then I'm just snipping the parts here. And then what you would do normally is take your darning needle and run these pieces in. You probably could just snip them off. Can we snip them off, do you think?
Yeah, you know what? Whatever your heart's desires on this, because it doesn't matter. You can sew a sequin in, you can sew a bead in,
A button,
a flower.
There, pull that really tight.
Or just have a bow.
Yeah.
Or 6 bows, or...
There you go.
There we go. It's like a butterfly bow.
Exactly. You could add that to, like I said, a cuff of a glove, anything, or a hat. So let me just add it to the headband and we'll be right back. So you can see this here. There's one little bow. I just used 1 stitch to sew it on. And maybe for an adult, you might want a bigger bow or 3 little ones in different colors. You might want to add buttons and sequins in the middle, whatever your imagination desires. And I think your friends and family will be shocked when you've never knit before and then they open up presents and gifts from you that have been handmade. It's so economical and so different, and everybody's is different. There's not 2 the same. So there you have it. There's your headband. So this headband is just an idea of the many, many things you can do with the stitches you've learned. Casting on, the garter stitch, and today, casting off. This headband is so cute, and you can just make so many different elements. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.